This is a second stimulus check and stimulus package update with great, exciting, good news about big movements in the Senate. Thanks for tuning in. This is LALATE. As always, like and subscribe to this channel and drop your comments below, and we may feature them in tomorrow's recording. And please hit that bell on the front of this channel so you get an alert when we have an update about the second stimulus check. Next week will be really a big week with a lot of stuff on the table. Hazard pay, $1,200, stimulus package, check, extensions of PUA benefits, forgiveness of student debts, $445 per week, even if you're employed, and liability for businesses. There's so much out there, and we're trying to sort through it for you, and there's a lot of great news about movement on several regards. First, the Republican Party, which had initially stalled on giving you a second stimulus package, is now behind it. So Steve Mnuchin, who is really has the president's ear on this, has said that there needs to be a second stimulus package. And he said last week that the country would not shut down ever again. Rather, it is best to give stimulus packages to keep things going. He appeared before a Senate subcommittee last week, chaired by Marco Rubio on the SBA, which, if you know this channel, we detailed it a lot. And he said during that he thought that the PPP program was a big success. He was also sat next to Jovita Carranza, who's head of the SBA, who said that she wanted to reopen the EIDL loan portal next week to give additional loans. Moreover, this channel has been detailing extensively since April that the Main Street Lending Program, another second stimulus package, is going live within days. This is a major factor for every citizen. I'll tell you why. Because it puts funding in cities and states, the municipalities in which you live. One of the core things of getting this economy going and getting you jobs and getting you money in your pockets is ensuring that your cities and your states do not go bankrupt, that do not default. And the Main Street Lending Program gives that lending ability by the Federal Reserve, underwritten by the Federal Reserve, to states to ensure that they have money going forward. As you know, a lot of states have had real bad problems paying unemployment assistance. And I don't mean just, technical problems. I don't mean processing problems. They've had financial problems meeting obligations about paying unemployment. And some of them really weren't anticipating the demand of pandemic unemployment assistance, PUA. It's that reason that they're sort of angry with companies like Uber and Lyft that really never paid any benefits to states for their drivers because they classified them as independent contractors, never paid them unemployment assistance, unemployment benefits for the state. If you're an employer with employees, you annually have to pay employment tax, so that if there is a pandemic like this and drivers need assistance from their states for unemployment, it's there. Well, in the case of Uber and Lyft, they weren't paying it all these years because they considered them independent contractors. States are furious, and now they're suing. So as independent contractors, as an Uber or Lyft, you should be getting your PUA or PUA UI benefits, depending on the state, whether they misclassify or not. And in there's $600 from the federal government. That $600 from the federal government runs from March to July. So what happens? What happens after that? Well, the current proposal before the Senate, the HEROES Act, calls to extend that $600 per week into January. It's important for two regards, and it's great news for you. First, if there is a second wave of the pandemic, if Uber and Lyft drivers are not able to drive again in the fall or at any time because they are shut down because of municipalities instituting shutdown orders or restrictive nature about how they're able to operate, or they're not able to operate in the full capacity, they would be entitled to that $600 per week in benefits in addition to their state's minimum benefits. Let me explain how this works. It's important to understand that. You can get PUA benefits even if you are not completely shut down. PUA's last classification is if you're if your work is partially reduced due to COVID-19. So, for example, if you are an Uber Lyft driver and you're only able to drive 20% this week of June because of COVID-19, you may qualify for PUA. But under the CARES Act, it That $600 from the federal government does no longer exist after July. You would only get your state minimum benefits, and that can be as little as $137 a week. Well, there's good news. The HEROES Act, which came from the House to the Senate, proposes to give you that $600 per week into the month of January. Republicans were initially opposed to it, but I think there's a possibility it will pass. I'll tell you why. This is really good news. People are now realizing that PUA is only to be used when you're impacted. So if you're not impacted, you don't certify for those respective weeks. There's no reason to believe that everyone would be impacted every single week the same way they are from March all the way to January of next year. But the HEROES Act allows that to exist there in the case that they need it. It is a proactive approach to ensuring that you have funds if you need it. It's far more comprehensive than the Portman Plan. The Portman Plan is another second stimulus package plan that has really gotten viewers of this channel very excited. It proposes $445 per week to be paid to you even if you are back at work now. Portman's understanding and thoughts are the following. He thinks that when you're back at work, you're not getting the amount of work, the amount of customers, the amount of business you got before the pandemic. So you're not making as much money. So as a result, you can't pay your bills as easily. And so he doesn't want you to stay home and stay on unemployment benefits. He doesn't want you exhausting state benefits and depleting state funds. He wants you to use the funds of the federal government because the federal government can print the money. Federal government can always print more dollar bills. So he wants to give you $445 per week, even if you're back at work, if your work is still reduced due to the pandemic. It's a great plan. The viewers of this channel adore the plan. The only reason to dislike the plan, which is a very, very big reason, and it's a reason why the plan by itself does not work, is that if you're unemployed and you don't have a job to go back to, you don't get any assistance. That's why you need something like that with PUA coupled together. And I really do think you will see something like that. It's far more attractive than the notion of a $1,200 second stimulus check coming, and that is it. I do believe, and this is really great news, I do believe you're going to get that $1,200 second stimulus check. I think it's going to come shortly. I do believe of all the things in the second stimulus package, that is the thing that's going to get approved, and it's going to come to you. There's approximately a couple thousand of you who are still not received that first stimulus check. That's coming to you. But as the second stimulus check, I believe you're going to get $1,200. I don't think you're going to get $2,000 for 6 months. I think what they're going to do is ensure that you get benefits from the federal government, like a Portman Plan, like an extension of PUA benefits, of $600, $400 per week where you certify that you're impacted that week. It's far more sophisticated and easier for the federal government to back that money and use the states as the mechanism to ensure that you get the money. I know a lot of you in the PUA videos have detailed that you've had problems getting those payments from your state. But I think Mnuchin has his ear on it. He is very attuned to the delivery of the funds is as important as the funds themselves. Next, hazard pay. How about hazard pay? There's a proposal of $13 per hour to be paid for hazard pay on top of what is paid on the hourly basis for essential workers and even gig workers. You would be paid up to a certain amount and have different ceilings based upon your 2019 earnings. A lot of people really like this. The last item of business is forgiveness of student debts. A lot of you have student debts. Those were put on hold during the pandemic. You didn't have to pay for them during a certain period of time. There's a proposal to extend the hold time on repaying student debts till next year. There's additionally a proposal to forgive some parts of the student debt. There's a lot of mechanisms for second stimulus packages and second stimulus checks. $1,200 per household, per adult, reducing the age of adult qualification lower, giving it to people who are still even dependent on other people's returns, ensuring that more people get the second stimulus check. These are things that everyone really agrees upon. This is great news. Where the battleground is the concern that people don't go back to work because they are too happy with the benefits that are coming from unemployment. I don't think that is really the concern. There is an upward swing now of people going back to work. It is not a V. It is not a fast moving curve, but it is an improvement. And that improvement shows that a second stimulus package works. A second stimulus package is needed. That all these packages, whether it's extension of something on a very small basis or something on a very large basis, whether it's just $1,200 check per person or something like $600, $800 million to local cities to ensure that they have budgeting so that they can pay their employees, because a lot of you are local city employees. Those are all important, because there's nothing worse than a city or state defaulting and not being able to pay you if you are a city or state employee. If you have questions to today's video, and I'm sure you do, drop them in the comments below. Stay with us, follow us, and subscribe. We do daily second stimulus check and stimulus package updates. As new news comes out, we will update you. As always, stay with LA for more.